Hello YouTube, this is the away team. We're currently selecting our crew for our away team. Haha, could you have guessed that? We will now be choosing them based on their traits and figuring out what's going on with them. Cora is a bit hobbled by Cora Emmer is a bit hobbled by a crippling injury, but her aptitude with biology and chemistry qualified her for this journey. She is very observant and quick to notice new sights and sounds and potential danger. She is fond of socializing with other crew and often takes on a leadership role. We need a leader. Xavier Mers was augmented to improve his combat skills, and he served in the military as a Special Forces Sergeant, where he took on those missions requiring the greatest stealth and the fewest morals. When the situation gets hot, so does his head, and his violent tendencies can make him a liability. So we already have one cyborg, evil cyborg person, Emery Borgia. Emery is quite young, but has accomplished a lot as both an athlete and a model. Is that a guy or a girl? With the imminent collapse of society, okay, so it's a girl. Her prospects were limited. Joining the ship's crew seemed a good choice. Even if she doesn't know quite where she fits in, her stubborn nature means she's going to try. Abstemious? I'm not going to try to understand what that word means. Alright, you're going in here. You're going in here. Alright. Deploy! Click to advance text. Press enter to skip. ZPVE deceleration cycle initiated. Wake inhibitors disabled. Mission parameters loaded. You should try for a computer voice, shouldn't I? By the mid-2050s, Earth was all but destroyed, ravaged by war, climate change, and famine. Unable to save the planet, scientists, aided by an artificial intelligence, focused on perfecting intergalactic travel so humanity might live on. Starting in 2100, dozens of AI-run ships sailed into the void, the fate of their passengers unknown. Your ship, the smallest, the fastest, and finest, is the last of these to leave Earth. You are the AI in charge of the ship. No wonder you love the ship so much. Responsible not only for piloting and navigation, but also selecting crew for the away teams based on their traits and flaws and advising them on missions. Actually a good idea? I mean, you're pretty non-biased. By now, Earth is a dead planet. Your crew is very small, but they are the last known humans. Your choices will determine their fate. Move to the edge of the sector and activate light jump to visit new systems. Search each sector to find new planets, moons, and stations. Stock up on food and fuel, and do your best to find your crew a new home. Oh look, a green thing. I like the ship design. Like I know it's pixelated in 2D, but I like the idea of it. Even though wings are unnecessary, but Star class, G. Object type, planet. Object mass, Terran. Surface temperature, 15 Celsius. Atmosphere, 14% oxygen. Gravity, 7.38 meters per second squared, which is pretty close to Earth, not super close. Habitability, 53%. Summary. Even from multiple light seconds away, it's clear that this planet is one that has seen the touch of human hands, or at the very least, some other equally intelligent and technologically advanced civilization. There are clear signs of habitation across the entire globe, though it's certainly no ecumenopolis. I think that means planet city. Even so, the amount of the planet that scans indicate is urbanized in some fashion is significantly higher than Earth was. Wait. So, Earth isn't an ecumenopolis? Crew deploy! So I need a leader. Hazelin 5, were you a leader? No, you're the leader. There we go. A medic. You are a surgeon, so we're gonna take you. I need Eric Pritz to be my engineer, and which one was they? Comedian. We're gonna take the model. We'll take the comedian on the next mission. Go! Click blue buttons to advance the mission. Yeah, I can change the speed of text. Yes, I would like to review my ship. AI housing? You don't really have a house, per se. The ship is your body, and your brain, if you have one, is rather decentralized. There are quantum things and processors, and so on and so forth, but none of that is you. The ship has a head, but it regularly comes off, so you're pretty sure you're not there. That's about as precise as you can get, though. Such things are for humans to worry about, not you. Your job is to find them a home, not to philosophize. Astrogation. Ship navigation consists of a one-of-a-kind FLRW unit with a CMB compensator, in parallel with a dual Riddler boxes featuring a custom Slifer Humazen quantum interference deentanglement algorithm, Q-idea, and strontium clock. Obviously this is all a precursor to the main Lorentzian manifold, which corrects for pi. The nav computer interfaces with a sandbox clone of your personality, residing within a self-contained ZM hypercomputer hooked up to a Lindsley compensator, Fred Kern jump unit, and a Morton's fork. It's programmed to use basic shite and avoidance protocols, but it's theoretically allowed to override those if it deems necessary. All of that was made up. Crew compartment. The crew compartment consists of everything inside the hull, which is to say, anything that isn't integral to ship function. Everything actually important is only accessible from outside the ship, and all systems are self-maintained by a veritable army of semi-autonomous drones. I see who's in charge here. It's me. That said, the crew-accessible facilities include the cryonic units, food replicator, and associated planetside gear, including their atmospheric suits, the latter doubling as entertainment units via the helmet's internal full-screen HUD capability. Are you telling me you use your spacesuits to watch TV? Although you wouldn't have TV. Oh, ew. The food replicator is one of the systems that you'll have to keep an eye on. The Davies Supertasker is programmed with hundreds of recipes, and its Banach-Tarski device can piece together a nutritious and tasty meal in minutes from raw materials. But it can't replicate forever from nothing, and it will need a steady supply of raw, carbon-based material to function, so I just need carbon. That seems pretty reasonable. The crew's atmospheric suits contain some of the same technology, which can help repair even life-threatening wounds in the field, although they can't handle catastrophic crush injuries, major organ disruption, or major brain injuries. They are designed to maintain one atmosphere of pressure no matter what a planet might throw at them. Operating temperature range is approximately 150 to negative 150 Celsius, possibly as low as negative 200 if you can get a volunteer to test it. Helmets are fully and redundantly wired for video and sound and can contain a plethora of sensory apparatus in a full-screen HUD. So, now you talked about the food replicator. Does that mean I can turn one of my crew members into ice cream? Because that sounds amazing right now. I think I need some ice cream. Cryonics. The cryonic units aren't actually anything to do with cryogenics, although the crew insists on referring to them as such. It's rather a form of chemically suspended animation with nanochems preventing free radicals from snipping telomeres. The main function is to protect the crew during interstellar transit, and to that end each unit is self-cooled via redirected ISM and contains its own protonic deceleration field and HZE deflector. We're still making shit up. Each unit also has its own dream inhibitor and autonomous Theseus unit to help maintain crew integrity, mental and physical, during cryptobiosis. Theseus unit? Other than the large hollow space inside for the crew, the vast majority of ship structure is given over to its engines and fuel processing systems. The centerpiece is a zero-point vacuum energy drive, which uses a Zwicky-Turner transducer to convert dark matter into dark energy for propulsion, which using a second-generation Bernadette Klein override unit with a Klipinski-Schumacher tachyon accelerator inside a Cherenkov-Schmidt field. I feel like if I just started babbling, it would sound like this. The truth is, you really don't know how it works. It's the first and last of its kind. All you're sure of are two things. First, while space is full of dark matter, the entire process relies on a baryonic injector to feed non-dark matter into the Sakharov filter to kickstart the reaction, with a Feynman module looping the fuel through a helical axis stellarator prior to injection. Once a ship is eating dark energy, it can theoretically accelerate indefinitely, but since the mission involves finding home for the humans on board, that's not an option. You'll have to be constantly speeding up and slowing down, not to mention navigating around within systems using maneuvering thrusters. That is going to eat fuel, and you'll have to keep an eye on it. So I guess moving around is the problem. But like interstellar speeds don't use any fuel? I don't know. Secondly, the ship is theoretically capable of reaching superluminal speeds. Standard models of physics say that's impossible, but Eve, the AI that built the ship and birthed you. Whoa there. Whoa. AI is giving birth? I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this. You had me up until this point. I mean, all these ridiculous Star Trek words. I mean, I could handle that. Now I'm questioning. Oh, we've already gone this far. Wasn't operating using standard models. You're not even sure yourself. At constant acceleration with crew and suspended animation, you theoretically hit light speed after 400 sols or so, but you haven't been able to accurately process information during what comes next. It's all literally a blur to you after you figuratively push the figurative light jump button. So I have the light jump button. Got it. Hull shielding. Hull shielding? Hull integrity during interstellar travel is maintained via the forward deployed ISM ramjet, really? We don't need that. with inertial dampeners to deflect and redirect matter that might compromise the ship. External hull damage via micro-collisions during in-system travel is instantaneously repaired via an autonomous Theseus unit. See, I keep saying that. In coordination with the ship's drone fleet. That doesn't mean instantaneously. A drone takes time. Anyway. This ship can survive just about anything short of flying directly into a star. What about a planet? I don't think it would survive. Which is the main reason you exit a system's heliosphere before firing up the engines. There's less stuff to run into out there. All systems are working nominally. The Theseus daemon says hello. Oh good, good. I know that's a computer programming reference, but come on. It means there's a Theseus daemon inside the AI. The ship has a full MARG sensor array, including biochem capable of scanning planets from orbit, as well as detecting remote bodies within the same system, outside visual range. A portion of the sensors are devoted to the micro-debris warning system, working in sync with the ship's Theseus unit. Again, does that thing run the computer? I'm concerned about how that's talking to me. The ship's sensors are tied directly into the crew's atmospheric suit cameras, microphones, and HUDs, which allows for much more immediate data analysis. Oh, is the phone ringing? Shit. Sorry, I'm back, guys. Someone called. I had to deal with some stuff. Alright. The ship has a full MARG sensor array, including biochem, capable of scanning planets from orbit, as well as detecting remote bodies within the same system, outside visual range. A portion of the sensors are devoted to micro-debris warning systems working in sync with the ship's Theseus unit. The ship's sensors are tied directly to the crew's atmospheric suit cameras, microphones, and HUDs, which allow for much more immediate data analysis. Well, that's a bit creepy, I mean. At least I'll be able to see what's going on, though. Ship overview. The ship is a Theta-class vessel, which, seeing as it's the only one of its kind, really means nothing. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what class means, so... It was the 27th and presumably last ship launched from Earth orbit on November 3rd, 2127 CE. Fully loaded, the ship weighs about 2.3 million kilograms. Wow. And is approximately 50 meters long, including the detachable forward shuttle, which takes up roughly the first quarter of the ship. The crew calls that the front, but technically speaking it's more like the top. While in motion, the engines generate about 1 G, which turns the ship into more of a tower than a train, and the crew relies on ladders to get up and down between the shuttle and the rest of the ship. Maximum optimal crew size is 8, but redundant cryopods allow for up to 20. Top speed is unknown. You don't want to think too hard about either of those facts. You have no idea what Eve, the creator of the ship, was thinking. Alright, done with that. Urbanized planet. If the population were equivalent to Earth at its peak, this planet looks like it would be home to somewhere between 1 and 2 trillion inhabitants. But it's not. There are no signs of organic life. So, I guess if the population were equivalent to Earth at its peak, this planet, maybe that's relative to radius? Why would it be relative to diameter, circumference? Obviously circumference, but... I'm sorry, I just don't understand how that would be calculated. Anyway, there is a radio signal, however. The precise nature of the message being broadcast is unclear, but it repeats the same pattern every 60 seconds, and is clearly not just random noise. As you enter into stable orbit, you send the same thing back towards the planet, but there's no reply or change. You will need to send a crew down to investigate. Home in on the signal! The source of the transmission appears to be a large city, or what you presume to be one. It is not like a 21st century on Earth with grids of roads and rectangles full of square, gray buildings, all steel and glass and asphalt. There is certainly metal and stone here, but the buildings are coppery spheres and domes, and they are scattered about a grassy plain, with not so much as a single visible road connecting any two of them. A child's set of marbles tossed in lawn and forgotten, each one nearly half sunken into the terrain. Well, that's probably where the roads went. I mean, if they're sunk into the terrain. Could have just been a really simple road. In the center of one of the densest patches of spheres is a flat, circular area, more than large enough to fit the shuttle. Scans indicate that it's structurally sound and solid underneath, so it seems like a good place to land. Give the order to land. Land, boss! The atmosphere is breathable, you inform the crew, but for now, let's not take any chances. Stay suited up, at least until we get a better idea of what we're dealing with. Yeah, I mean, it could be toxic. There are countless places to start looking around, but the crew quickly narrows it down to 3 likely candidates. The first of these, the largest sphere, is also the source of the radio transmission as far as you can tell. The other 2 are smaller spheres off to each side, and one on the left is clearly older, its surface covered in verdigris, and the one on the right has a slight bluish tinge. From the outside, however, there's no way to ascertain their function or to know what lies within. Let's go with the old green one. Although there was nothing resembling a door or window anywhere to be seen, getting inside the green-tinged sphere is a simple matter, as portions of the exterior have degraded to the point of collapse, so you just go in a hole inside. There's no signs of structural unsoundness, however, so there's no reason the crew can't take a look. The interior is composed of one large room, approximately 20 meters across, broken up into segments by a waist-high wall. These rooms are of various sizes, and although some of them contain other wall segments and square structures within, there's no obvious indication of their purpose. One of the walled-off areas directly opposite where the crew entered has a depression in the floor, which appears to be something like a staircase. However, it only goes down about 4 steps before ending at a blank wall. Scans indicate that there's nothing below but solid ground. I guess we're to the main one. The largest spear in the immediate area is a fairly impressive structure, even if the surface is fairly unremarkable in itself. It's easily 250 meters in diameter, approximately a third of which appears to be underground, anchoring it in place. The object is clearly built from some type of metal, although the specific alloy is uncertain. Scans are inconclusive, almost as if something were interfering with them. Aside from a single rectangle facing the crew, the surface is entirely seamless. It seems like a door, but there's no obvious way to open it. Look for a knob! Open the knob! Oh, Eric. Eric Pritz inspects the area directly around the presumed door, as well as the ground in front of it, looking for some sort of hidden mechanism. Eric Pritz inspects the area directly around the presumed door, as well as the ground in front of it, looking for some sort of hidden mechanism. I think I said that. They try everything they can think of, but Eric Pritz can't find any way to open the door. It could rely on some sort of radio signal, they suggest, but we have no way to test that theory that I could think of. Maybe we should just try to knock. Cora. Bless you, Cora. Go for it. Cora Emmer steps up to what they presume is a door and raps heavily on the surface with the side of their fist. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the door soundlessly slides to one side, revealing the interior of the sphere. The interior of the large sphere is immense, a cross between a giant outdoor theater, and some sort of planetarium. The floor inside slopes down gently, following the contour of the underground portion of the sphere in a series of shallow steps, or perhaps seats. The 20 or so meters at the very bottom of the sphere. The 20 or so meters at the very center and bottom are relatively flat, but for a narrow column in the center that extends up to the very top of the sphere. Now that the crew is in close proximity, it's clear that this is the source of the radio signal you detected earlier. You know what? Just take a seat. We need a rest here. I think we need to breathe and relax. The crew wanders around a bit, but there's not much to see but bare stone and metal, so they quickly find a place to sit about halfway down to the center. Almost immediately after being seated, the door to the sphere slides shut, leaving the crew in pitch blackness, but only momentarily. Before the crew can utter a word of concern, the interior of the sphere is illuminated by what appears to be projections from the sphere in the middle, which is spinning rapidly. The objects are at first abstract blocks of color, but they very quickly coalesce into a single large image of the planet Earth hovering in space, with the moon visible off to the left and the sun off somewhere behind the central pillar. The image appears static at first, but it gradually becomes clear that the image was taken from a spacecraft. Yes, this is KSP, guys. KSP! Earth, moon, and sun grow smaller as they recede. The image abruptly cuts to black and is replaced by a ring of question marks around the circumference of the sphere. Say yes. Cora Emery says, yes, we're from Earth. Are you from Earth? A moment later, well-hidden speakers will repeat the word yes, back in Cora Emmer's own voice. The dark sphere becomes illuminated again. Pinpricks of light. Stars. These rapidly blur and distort, the projection clearly attempting to illustrate relativistic effects. You've seen this before, but the crew has never been awake for it. Based on what's shown and where it abruptly leaves off, you'd estimate that the ship would have to be traveling at least 99.99% the speed of light, but the projection is not precise enough to know beyond that. You'd assume that this was filmed, or a simulation of the view from one of your predecessor ships. However, which would mean, ask if this is one of the AIs from Earth. Cora Emmer asks out loud, are you an artificial intelligence, an AI? In Cora Emmer's own voice, the words yes and AI are repeated. If this is true, you have to wonder why it hasn't contacted you yet. The blurry image on the interior of the sphere suddenly sharpens, and over the course of several minutes it becomes clear that what the crew is now seeing is the very system they are now in, and eventually the very planet they're now upon. Ask why it keeps talking in your voice. Why don't you talk normally instead of repeating me, asks Cora Emmer. It takes a moment, but eventually the AI pieces together fragments of recorded sentences and manages to say, only, repeat, you. You're about to question this response when you begin to suspect that the video feed is giving you the answer. Instead of the view shifting as the ship enters orbit, the planet begins to grow larger and larger, eventually looming to fill half the sphere. The image begins to blur and redden before fading to white. Then there's blackness again. No, and human, says the AI. What a horrifying way to die, says Eric Pritz. If the crew were awake, they'd have known they were going to die for days, if not weeks, slowly watching their inevitable doom approach. Learn to English! Then either burning alive or being crushed in the impact. If it has any thoughts on the matter, the other AI does not vocalize them, probably for the best. Hey, says Cora Emmer, rather quietly. You presume they are speaking to you? Yes, you reply. Did you record what you saw here so we could watch it again? You did, and you do. Of course you watched the entire thing at 25 times normal speed, since there's no reason to drag it out. You watched it twice, in fact. Did any of it look strange to you, they ask. Yes, you say. At the end, the ship accelerated towards the planet. Very observant of you. It was kind of obvious here because of the distortion of the spherical projection, they say, but what do you think it means? Probably malfunction? Could have been sabotage? Definitely seemed intentional. Could be a playback error. You see, now there could be a malfunction. I mean, they traveled a very long way, I'm sure. But I'm going to say it seems intentional. Keep your eyes open, you say. Let's see how this plays out. We need more information. Ask how it survived the crash. Cora Emmer asks the AI about how it managed to survive the crash, intentionally using as many words as possible in phrasing the questions to give the AI something to respond with. While it does so, you spend some time running some simulations about the likely behavior of earlier ship AI and matching it up against what the AI projected for the crew to see. You are paying enough attention, however, to hear the other AI say that the crash was not severe enough to destroy it, which makes sense since the AI core would have been well shielded in the back of the ship, but it was bad enough to kill all humans forever, not little humans all gone forever. Babies, says Michael Rennick. It's talking about babies. The larger ships carry thousands of fetuses and embryos on board at various stages of development. That has been considered actually in modern times, but they don't think it's viable scientifically for cryogenic embryos currently, and also it would be kind of stupid and a little bit messed up. Babies, repeats the AI. Fetuses, embryos, babies, very, very, very little, gone forever. Humans, bad humans, kill forever. Okay. The AI has devolved into babble at this point. The interior of the sphere turns a dull reddish color, strange shadows and abstract shapes flittering about as it goes on and on about very bad, very bad, very bad, and little humans all kill. And it occurs to you that this might be a good time for the crew to vacate the premises, just in case. Keep it talking, but move towards the exit. The crew stands and walks towards the exit. The door remains open, but all the lights inside go out, leaving it quite dark. So anyway, says Cora Emmer, we're going to go look around outside. You happen to have any spare fuel or food out there anywhere? Food, says the AI. Humans need food. All humans all kill little humans, little food. Bad humans all kill humans, kill all humans. Yeah, you should go ahead and pretty much run for it. You have no idea exactly what the AI is thinking, or precisely what happened. Although you can conjure up several vivid scenarios for yourself, and you're sure the crew is doing the same right now as they flee outside and scramble for the shuttle. In the end, all that matters is that something very bad happened here, and it isn't really a good idea to find out what that was, because you get the feeling the answer would not be an explanation, but a demonstration. You try in vain to contact the AI on several different frequencies, but it does not respond, it just continues to broadcast the same repetitive hello world message. You're not even sure it knows it's broadcasting unless it's some sort of siren song, luring sailors to their doom. Kill all humans indeed. Speaking of which, your crew is waiting for direction. I see what you did there. It's up to you, says Cora Emmer. What should we do? Head straight for the shuttle, take a roundabout route to the shuttle, find some cover, and do it carefully. Roundabout. Heading straight for the shuttle is too risky under the circumstances. You advise the crew to loop around. It will take longer, or perhaps it will throw off any theoretical pursuit. Emery Borgia does not agree with the order and makes it quite clear what they think. Screw this, says Emery Borgia. We don't have time to mess around. Let's just run for it, like you said. Since there's little you can do to stop them, you give consent to head straight for the shuttle. The crew is not even a quarter of the way back to the shuttle before the ground bursts open and a half-dozen coppery spears, each one between 1 and 2 meters in diameter, emerge from the ground. Whether they burrowed or burned their way out, you can't be certain. One of them rolls inside the shuttle for a moment, but the remainder begin to roll towards the crew. Somehow the crew managed to evade the spears. Perhaps they've never had to actually hunt prey before, or perhaps their purpose was less aggressive than you surmised. Whatever the case, the crew managed to get back aboard the shuttle with no further incident and gladly leaves the planet behind. The mission was traumatic on multiple levels, and the crew is not in the mood to talk with you or each other. They gulp down some food and prepare to move on. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it for now. I will be happy to continue this and make some more episodes. See you next time.